Okay guys, here we go. We're gonna go into module 5 now. I think everybody's doing well. I like this, like the directions we're going. I'm seeing some good topics, some good discussion. Papers are looking good. I like where we're going with the papers. I think you're on track. So here we go. Module 5, we're going to look at natural disaster risk management. Okay, we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit from where we're at as far as the security aspect of it, the threats, be it active shooter, be it something along those lines, where there's a significant loss, potential for loss of life. Now, obviously in natural disasters, there can be the potential for significant loss of life, so we want to make sure that we're prepared for that. However, what we got to look at too is that in weather or natural disaster, let me rephrase that, most natural disaster events, you're going to have some sort of warning. You're going to have some sort of idea that it's coming. Okay, natural disasters or hurricanes, you can have good insight on hurricanes, you can have good insight on weather-related events, tornadoes to some extent, earthquakes obviously not, but you got a good idea that a lot of this stuff is coming. By far, natural disasters is probably hands down one of the most expensive threats an organization, will have to face. So you got to keep that in mind. You're looking at like Superstorm Sandy, the hurricanes on the Gulf Coast last year, Hurricane Katrina. You're looking at billions and billions of dollars worth of damage, and you got to keep that in mind because that's what hurts. I mean, that's what hurts an organization. Companies in New Orleans literally went bankrupt because of Katrina, and a lot of other places, Superstorm Sandy, places like that. Over the past years, it seems like it's gotten a little bit higher. Hurricanes, wildfires, other disasters, things of that nature. However, going back to what I was saying a minute ago, keep in mind that with National Hurricane Center, the meteorological services and things of that nature, you can have a little bit of anticipation. You can have a little bit of idea what's coming at you. And you want to keep that in mind. Obviously, you want to pay, and again, don't take this the wrong way, you want to pay a lot more attention to what would be a Cat 5 storm, hurricane, Category 5 hurricane, as compared to a Category 1. Can a Category 1 cause you damage? Yeah, absolutely. However, a Cat 5, with you got sustained winds of well upwards of over 125 miles an hour, you're really looking at some severe structural damage. Okay, Module 5, learning objectives. We want to describe disaster-related, climate-related definitions in the risk management process. We want to explain the steps in the disaster risk management cycle. Moving through the checklist, what I'm looking for is to complete this module. You will have to read the introduction of the chapter. In a better climate for disaster risk management. I've got the link down in here in the module. Watch the lecture video by your amazing instructor. And also introducing climate-informed disaster discussion question. So, moving forward into the modules. Okay, let me scoot ahead a little bit. Okay, introducing climate-informed disaster risk management. This is where you want to make sure that you got your eye on the ball, okay? What we're looking at right now is globally, climate-related disasters including floods, droughts, cyclones, heat waves, and mudslides are causing significant amounts of money. I mean, you're looking, like I said a minute ago, into billions and billions of dollars. Compound that with the fact the loss of life is also up there. I mean, you're looking at tens of thousands of deaths, and I mean hundreds of thousands of injuries. However, you got to also look at the standpoint too that you can forecast out a lot of this stuff. Now, you're working in an organization or something like that, and you start getting information that there's a storm coming. You're looking at it from the information from the National Hurricane Center. You can start evacuating things. You can start evacuating people. You can start moving things. And there's things you can do to protect your business. For example, the first thing off the top of my head would be a cloud. So you can move all your computer software or your computer files or all your data into a cloud, and then you have it. I'm not going to get into the hacking of the cloud and everything else because I know that's been a big deal lately too that you got to think about. But for the hurricane itself or for the natural disaster itself, you want to keep that in mind. Also, you want to pay attention to the area that you're in. places like where I'm at, New Orleans, we've got a lot of low-lying areas. We've got a lot of flood-prone areas. So going back to what I was saying a minute ago, a Hurricane 5 will cause catastrophic damage. I mean, severe structural damage with the winds. However, a small Category 1 hurricane can cause us grief because most of New Orleans, you may or may not have heard the rumor or heard the analogy that New Orleans sits in a bowl. So we are at high places 5 feet to 6 feet above sea level, and then at low places, there's places in New Orleans that are actually below sea level. So you got to take a look at that. With climate change, and again, I'm not getting into the politics of climate change. Everybody's got their opinion on that. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of it's an issue I've got to deal with. Whether we can say global warming and all the other stuff, let's not get into that. We're sticking with what can I do to mitigate this risk. Okay, so that being said, it's expected that there will be more extreme events, there'll be more things involved, and some people make the argument yes, some people make the argument no. I think that with the technology that's out there, the way the economy is and things like that, you look at what cost X number of dollars back in the 1930s, 1940s, as compared to what's going to be X number of dollars in 2019, 2020. So it's safe to say that a lot of this is going to get expensive. Now, with all that in mind, you've got to utilize the abilities to anticipate this risk. You've got to be able to take a look at this stuff from various standpoints and use that information to your advantage. And that's how you got to do it. That's how you got to make sure that you can get this opportunity to use that information, because you're going to be dealing with a lot of challenges. You're going to be dealing with a lot of things happening at one time, because once you get that warning that there's a hurricane that's 96 hours off the coast, you really don't have a lot of time. It's like, okay, hey, I got 3 days. No, you were running out of time fast. That's why you got to make sure that you got your contingency plans or continuity of operations plans, which we're going to get into a little bit further down the line, everything in place to be able to sustain your business. Okay? What I want you to do is when you go through this chapter, I want you to look how climate information can be integrated into the disaster risk management. That's how I want you to look at that. I've already given you a few examples with the National Hurricane Center making the forecast and things along those lines, but I want you to take a closer look on how this disaster risk management is going to be based off of these forecasts or this information that can be picked up from. So what I want you to do is I've got the link for you, and I want you to take read that introduction chapter, A Better Climate for Disaster Risk Management, and then we're going to get to our discussion question, which is where you're going to try to kind of formulate some ideas for me. What the discussion question is going to be, there was a significant increase in 2005 in the number of climate-related disasters, and the cost was staggering. What disasters caused the most damage, and how could it have been mitigated? What happened in 2005? I'll see you next time.